Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping right into the engine room of our digital lives, really. An industry that's often invisible, but, well, it powers pretty much everything we do online. Ever stop to think what's actually behind that vast ocean of data we swim in every day? We are talking about the global data center servers market.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're drawing on some really comprehensive data. It's from a Global Data Center Service Market Pulse 2021-2033 report by Cognitive Market Research. Our fighting today is basically to pull out the key insights for you, the growth numbers, the forecasts, how things look region by region, so you can get up to speed quickly on this, well, absolutely critical sector.
Okay, let's get into it then, the big picture first. Looking globally, the growth in data center servers it's pretty dramatic, isn't it? We're seeing total sales revenue climbing from, what, $147 billion-ish back in 2021?
That's right, $147.092 billion.
Up to $226 billion just this year, 2025. And the projection, it rockets up to over half a trillion by 2033, $534.405 billion.
Yeah, staggering numbers. And behind that headline figure is a really strong global growth rate, the compound annual growth rate, or CAGR. It's sitting at 11.35%.
An 11.35% CAGR globally.
Wow. And, this isn't just growth for growth's sake. It's being pushed by some really fundamental shifts, things like, well, digital transformation, which is happening everywhere, the huge surge in cloud computing, just the sheer explosion of data traffic.
From streaming, IoT, everything.
Exactly. And companies needing bigger, better server setups. Enterprise-level infrastructure is expanding fast.
So it's more data, more complex uses for that data, AI, advanced analytics, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Those technologies demand serious computing power, often specialized hardware like GPUs. So this massive growth in servers isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential to keep the whole digital world running and evolving.
Okay, that's the global view, a huge wave of growth. But where is this growth actually, hitting hardest? How does it break down by region?
Right, let's look at the regional dynamics. North America, well, it's still the market leader, a real powerhouse. Their revenue was already significant back in 2021, $47.8 billion. That's expected to climb to $72.3 billion by 2025.
Okay.
And then looking out to 2033, the forecast is $165.666 billion. That represents a CAGR of 10.912%. Still very strong.
And within North America, is it mainly the U.S. driving that?
The U.S. is definitely the giant share, no surprise there. It goes from about $38 billion in 2021, way up to nearly $128 billion projected for 2033. That's a 10.63% CAGR.
Solid.
But Canada's growth is actually quite a bit faster in percentage terms. It's showing a 12.548% CAGR. So from $7.2 billion up to almost $30 billion by 2033. They're clearly investing heavily.
Interesting. And Mexico?
Mexico's growing steadily too, around 9.8%, projected to reach nearly $8 billion. So the whole region is contributing.
Okay, let's hop across the pond to Europe. How does the picture look there? Dynamic and diverse, I think you mentioned.
Yeah, Europe's definitely dynamic. Its revenue started at just under $39 billion in 2021, expected to hit $58.7 billion this year. And the projection for 2033, $133 billion. So it's a key AGR of 10.774%, pretty close to North America's pace.
And within Europe, who are the key players or maybe the fastest movers?
Well, you've got the big economies, of course, the UK, Germany, France. Germany, for example, is looking at growth from about $7.5 billion to over $25 billion.
Right.
But interestingly, Spain seems to be leading the pack in terms of growth rate with an 11.69% CAGR. It's projected to hit over $11 billion.
Ah, okay.
And you're seeing strong double-digit growth in Italy and Russia, too. Both heading towards the $14-15 billion mark by 2033, plus solid contributions from places like Switzerland, the Nordics, Sweden, Denmark, Luxembourg, too. Is quite widespread.
Got it. Now, moving east, Asia Pacific, this seems to be where the real explosion in growth is happening, the dominant engine.
Oh, absolutely. Asia Pacific is the standout region for growth rate. We're looking at a projected CAGR of 12.065%. That takes the market value from around $41.5 billion in 2021 to a massive $162.7 billion by 2033. Just huge.
$162 billion. Wow. What's fueling that kind of acceleration?
It's a combination of factors. You've got enormous populations rapidly adopting digital tech, massive economic development, and crucially, huge government and private investment in digital infrastructure.
And who are the leaders within APAC? China, I assume?
China's the biggest piece of the pie, yes,
Yep.
growing from $14.5 billion to over $55 billion. But here's something really interesting. India actually has the highest CAGR, not just in the region, but globally.
Globally. Really?
Yeah, stunning 14.077%. So India's market is expected to grow from about $6 billion in 2021 to nearly $30 billion by 2033.
What's driving that specifically in India?
It seems to be a mix of things. Strong government pushes for digitalization, digital India and all that, a huge young tech-savvy population coming online, and a big surge in local cloud services and data needs. It's become a real magnet for data center investment.
Fascinating. And other key players in APAC?
Japan, South Korea, Australia, all showing very strong growth as well. Australia, for instance, is projected to reach almost $13 billion, growing at over 12.5%. And Singapore is also punching above its weight, growing very rapidly too.
Okay, incredible growth in Asia Pacific. What about South America? Are we seeing similar trends there?
South America is definitely accelerating. It's projected to grow from just over $9 billion in 2021 to more than $37 billion by 2033. That's a strong CAGR of 12.265%.
So catching up fast?
Pretty much.
Great.
Brazil is still the main market there, expected to hit nearly $16 billion. But Argentina and Colombia are actually showing slightly faster growth rates, both around 12.86%.
Right. And the Middle East, another region pushing digitalization hard.
Absolutely charging forward. The Middle East market is forecast to grow from about $5.1 billion to nearly $21 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 12.359%.
Driven by?
A lot of it is linked to national strategies. Diversifying economies away from oil, investing heavily in tech infrastructure. Leaders there are Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE. And interestingly, the UAE actually boasts the highest growth rate within the Middle East, over 13.6%. They're really building out capacity.
Okay, one more region to cover, Africa. Still emerging, but what's the potential there?
Africa is showing solid growth. Definitely an emerging market to watch. It's expected to go from around $4.4 billion in 2021 to nearly $15 billion by 2033. The CAGR is about 10.471%, so growing steadily.
And the key countries there?
Nigeria and South Africa seem to be leading the way. Both are projected to have markets exceeding $6 billion by 2033. It reflects, more people getting online, more demand for local digital services and content.
Okay, so we've toured the globe, seen incredible growth pretty much everywhere, but especially in Asia Pacific. Let's tie this all together. What's the so what factor here? What does this boom mean beyond billions of dollars?
Well, if you connect all those regional stories, the underlying theme is clear. It's this relentless digitalization trend combined with the ever-growing need for cloud services. And a big part of enabling this is the focus on hyperscale data centers. Those enormous, super efficient facilities run by the tech giants.
Right, the ones powering the cloud.
Exactly. Their massive scale-up is what makes handling all this data possible and relatively efficient. These trends are pushing all those numbers higher globally.
So for you, the listener, what this translates to is, well, better digital experiences, right? Faster streaming, quicker searches, more reliable video calls, but also the underlying power for all the new stuff, AI tools, smarter cities, maybe even things we haven't thought of yet.
Precisely. It's not just servers humming away somewhere. It's the fundamental infrastructure that makes our modern connected lives possible. It really is the backbone.
So to wrap up this deep dive, the data center servers market is clearly experiencing huge global growth. Every region is playing a part in this expansion.
Absolutely. And with that global CAGR over 11%, the future looks incredibly strong. The industry is constantly adapting, innovating in hardware, cooling, energy use, all to meet these massive escalating demands for data and computing power.
Which leaves us with a thought to ponder. Given this just exponential growth, this need for more and more data centers, more servers, what's the next big hurdle? Is it sustainability, power consumption on this scale, or maybe developing even more specialized chips for AI? How does this sheer scale shape what comes next, and what does it signal about the future of data itself? Something to think about until our next deep dive. Have you ever stopped to think about what's actually running behind the scenes?
Yeah.
That massive invisible engine that powers every single thing you do online, every tap, every stream.
Search query. Yeah.
Exactly. We use this digital world constantly, but the machines, the networks making it work, they're completely hidden for most of us.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the data center servers market. These are the quiet giants, the real muscle behind our digital lives.
Mm-hmm.
We want to try and decode the forces shaping this this really fundamental industry.
Absolutely. And it's crucial to remember these data centers, they aren't just, warehouses full of computers. They're the absolute bedrock of the modern digital ecosystem.
Right.
It's where all that data gets processed, stored, made accessible
Right.
at a scale that, frankly, was hard to imagine just, say, 10 years ago.
So our mission here is to pull out the key insights for you from the research we've looked at. We want to explore what's driving this incredible growth, but also the big hurdles, the challenges.
Yeah, there are definitely challenges.
And then look at the really exciting trends that are changing the game. We think there are some maybe surprising connections here that will help you feel properly clued in on this vital yet often unseen part of your world.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's unpack this first. The growth. When you look at what's really fueling this boom, two things immediately jump out, don't they? Cloud computing, massive surge there, and the Internet of Things, IoT.
Definitely.
It feels like we say it all the time, but businesses, consumers, we really are generating just mind-boggling amounts of data constantly.
Is it just the sheer amount, though, or is the kind of data changing, too?
That's a really important distinction. The volume is huge, no doubt. But I'd argue the speed, the velocity of the data, and the sheer variety.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really pushing server requirements.
Oh, okay.
We're not just storing more pictures, right? We're processing these incredibly diverse streams,
Mm-hmm.
tiny sensor readings 1 minute, massive video files the next, and often needing to do it in real time.
Right. For immediate action. Exactly. So that demands a whole different kind of server setup. Hyper-efficient designs that can juggle everything from complex industrial automation in a factory to maybe the smart thermostat in your home. It needs that instant response. And what's fascinating is how this capability, this sort of power, is now accessible even to smaller players. Kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah, that makes sense. And beyond just the data flood, there's this whole digital transformation push happening everywhere, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
Companies aren't just putting old stuff online. They're really trying to modernize their core IT, supporting remote work, hybrid models, edge computing needs, better digital customer service. It feels like agility is the key word.
Agility is definitely it. And that drive, that need for flexibility, it hits the server market directly, especially with the move to private clouds, hybrid clouds. Companies need server systems that are not just powerful, but also really scalable and crucially energy efficient.
So they can ramp up and down easily.
Precisely. You need to be able to scale almost instantly, handle bigger workloads without performance dropping off a cliff. It's become, honestly, mission critical for businesses today. It affects everything from launching a product to answering a customer query fast.
Okay, and speaking of transformation, 5G, that feels like another huge catalyst. How does 5G adoption specifically crank up the pressure on data center servers? Latency must be a big part of it.
You nailed it. Latency is the core issue there. As 5G rolls out, it enables this whole new class of applications where even a millisecond delay matters.
Like what, for example?
Well, think about augmented reality, VR experiences that feel truly real, autonomous cars making split-second navigation choices, or real-time financial trading systems.
Right, things that need instant response.
They don't just prefer low latency, they absolutely demand it. And that translates directly into needing next-gen servers, optimized not just for raw speed, but for incredible reliability, responsiveness. And often, these servers need to be physically closer to where the data is actually being used.
Which we'll probably touch on later with edge computing.
That's exactly.
Okay, so this growth sounds amazing, almost unstoppable. But, like anything moving this fast, there must be significant bumps in the road. Let's talk about the roadblocks. The cost always seems like the elephant in the room with data centers. Is that the main thing?
It's definitely a huge factor. The initial investment, the capital expenditure, is immense. And you're right, it's not just buying the servers. You need specialized cooling, sophisticated power management, top-tier cybersecurity, plus the ongoing costs of running it 24/7.
The operational costs.
Exactly. Those ongoing costs, especially power and cooling, can be, well, a silent killer for the budget, particularly with energy prices being so volatile.
Right.
And these huge financial hurdles, they can genuinely slow things down, often pushes smaller or medium-sized companies towards just using the public cloud instead of building their own setup.
And then there's the issue that affects pretty much everyone online, cybersecurity. Data privacy. Feels like a constant battle.
It really is. And the more we rely on these data centers, the bigger the target they become, right? For data breaches, ransomware, compliance failures, It's a massive risk.
So companies have to spend more just defending themselves.
They're forced to allocate, yeah, significant budgets purely to securing the infrastructure. And that obviously hits the bottom line, and it can make just running the place way more complicated. It's forcing some really interesting security innovations too, mind you, almost sci-fi stuff sometimes.
Hmm. And one more challenge, something we hear about across the tech sector, the talent gap. Finding people who can actually manage these complex systems.
It's a critical bottleneck, absolutely. Managing these advanced data center servers, it requires really specific niche skills. Virtualization, AI for operations, automation.
Right.
The problem is the number of people trained with those exact skills hasn't really kept up with the explosion in demand.
So what happens? Projects get delayed.
Yeah, in some places where that tech talent is really scarce, you see delays in deploying new servers, or maybe upgrade projects just get put on hold indefinitely. It's a real barrier, even when the technology itself is ready to go.
Okay, but let's shift gears. Despite the challenges, innovation is definitely charging ahead. Let's talk about the exciting trends shaping the future. First one, edge data centers. This feels like a fundamental change, moving computing outwards.
It really is. If you connect it back to that 5G latency point we discussed, edge computing is all about processing data much, much closer to where it's actually generated or needed.
So less travel time for the data.
Exactly. Reduces that delay. Think about, say, an autonomous car needing to react instantly to something on the road, or a smart factory where machines need real-time control based on sensor data.
Or even just local analysis in a shop or something.
Precisely. Localized analytics for retail, smart city applications. It relies on these smaller, decentralized server infrastructures, often using compact, high-performance servers right near the source. It's a big shift from the huge, centralized model.
Interesting. Okay, another big trend. Server virtualization, and this idea of software-defined infrastructure. Sounds powerful, making things more flexible.
Oh, it's transformative. When we talk about decoupling the software from the hardware, basically it turns data centers from these kind of rigid, fixed things into much more fluid, adaptable environments.
So you can change what servers are doing more easily.
Instantly. Imagine reconfiguring thousands of servers for a totally different job with just, software commands. That's the power here. It gives you incredible flexibility, lets you use your servers much more efficiently, and generally lowers operating costs.
Which goes back to that agility point.
Absolutely. That speed and agility are essential now. Businesses need to be able to pivot their whole computing approach really quickly. That just wasn't feasible a decade ago.
And finally, a trend that feels both technological and, well, necessary. Sustainability. Energy efficiency. Data centers have a reputation as serious power hogs.
They definitely have had that reputation, and let's be honest, for good reason. They consume vast amounts of electricity.
But that's changing.
The good news is, yes, there's a huge amount of innovation happening here. We're seeing things like new server designs using ARM-based processors originally designed for phones, prioritizing efficiency.
Ah, interesting. Lower power draw.
Exactly. Perfect for data centers trying to cut their carbon footprint.
Nice.
And beyond the chips themselves, there's a lot happening with advanced cooling techniques, using AI to optimize power usage across the entire facility.
So it's not just good for the planet, it's good for the bottom line, too.
It's a definite win-win. Reduces environmental impact, significantly cuts those operational costs we talked about, and it helps companies meet global sustainability targets and, increasingly, government regulations.
So wrapping this up for you, our listener, what's the big picture here? The data center servers market is clearly going through this really dynamic transformation, adapting constantly. It really makes you appreciate this invisible layer we depend on, doesn't it?
It really does. Every single click, every stream, it's all flowing through these incredibly complex, purpose-built digital hubs.
Yeah.
And yeah, while the high costs and the security worries are real hurdles, the momentum from cloud growth, digital transformation, 5G, edge computing, it's just immense. It far outweighs the challenges. The future here looks like, well, smarter, more sustainable, and incredibly scalable server tech. Ready for things we probably haven't even thought of yet.
Absolutely. And just as we finish this deep dive, here's a final thought maybe for you to chew on. Given this relentless demand for more power, more efficiency in data processing, what's the next radical leap? What kind of innovation might be out there that could disrupt even these current trends we've discussed?
Quantum, maybe? Something completely different.
Could be something that makes servers even more, well, invisible, yet even more essential to how we live digitally. What might that actually look like for your own tech use day to day? How might it change things for you personally? Something to think about.